This episode is brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Once again, that time of week, our favorite time of week, another riveting episode of Points in the Paint. Our weekly homage to the WCC Women's Basketball Conference. I'm Ann Schatz, joined by the incomparable Mary Murphy. All right, stretch run time in the WCC. Conferences all over the country, of course, but we're going to center in on the WCC. So let's dive in, Mare. Gonzaga, Portland, continue to roll along. They pick up crucial wins. It looks like they've got a little separation between themselves and the rest of the pack.
Yeah, a huge game at Oregon State that we worked, and Gonzaga was able to pull out a very tight game, and that was a lot of fun to be there and to call as well. Vonnie Adrian was outstanding again, 31 points, a bunch of rebounds. But for me, the big story this week is without a doubt is San Diego. You know, we had talked about it last week on the pod that look, they're coming. They had tight games. They were right there. They led at halftime in both games last week, including a game against Portland. And they came away with 2 victories this weekend. They beat Pacific in overtime on the road. And then on Saturday, they beat Santa Clara. So just a wonderful weekend for a program that had been coming close, but couldn't quite get the first victory. Not that they just get one, they got 2. So that was amazing. And then Portland, to me, had a weekend that they had to have, but it was so close to slipping away, right? They had a makeup game on Monday, and they beat Pepperdine on the road by 2 in overtime. And then St. Mary's, a 2-point game on the road on Thursday. And then they beat Washington State at home on Saturday by 5. So they took care of business. It was a challenge, and they got pushed to the limit, but they come away with 3 victories. And boy, they needed them to just solidify and hold on to that second spot.
1 and 2, we've got Gonzaga, we've got Portland. Washington State doing its dirty work, if you will, good work to keep that 3rd slot right now.
Yeah, they're sitting in good shape, certainly. And what they want is to control their own destiny.
You bet.
And that's what they can do right now with where they are and what they've got left.
So it's going to be really interesting because you're the math guru, you're the professor, is as these next few weeks come and go, tie breaks, difficult schedules, we'll get into all of that, but things are still log jammed for many of the coveted slots.
Yeah, they are. And that 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th are big. Just one thing we've talked about this, and one thing and one player that has really stood out to me over that 3-game stretch for Portland was the play of Alexis Mark, the 6-foot senior out of Chatsworth. In the overtime at Pepperdine, the double-double, 17-12, but 5 assists and a couple of steals. And then Thursday, she almost had a triple-double. 13 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds. She's 1 rebound away from a triple-double and a couple of steals. And then Saturday, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. I mean, sensational performance, but yet that performance wasn't enough to get Player of the Week. That went to somebody else.
All right, so you mentioned San Diego earlier and how you've been shining a light on this club that just keeps its perseverance bar high. And Kylie Horstmeyer, who gets Player of the Week for what she did to make sure the Toreros were going to break through, not only with their first win, but consecutive wins. She was huge all weekend.
She really was. And you think about this player, she's in her 5th year. She was, way back to the COVID area, which not right now seems like it was about a decade ago. But she left Redwood High School in Marin County early. She graduated a semester early, enrolled at San Diego, and got right into it. And what a weekend she had, a career high against Pacific in their first win in the overtime. And just, she hits the 3, right? With like 4 seconds left. And she was waiting for it. Like you could see her hands for like 5 seconds. They inbounded it with 14 or 15 seconds left. They're running it to her and she gets it and she delivers the 3, ties it. They go to overtime and they win. And then she follows it up with 20 points and another career high, this time in rebounds. 5 of them, my favorite, on the offensive end in a win over Santa Clara. You can't really cap off a 5-year career any better than that. And this is a player that has just given everything to this program, didn't leave, stuck around. And when you talk to people about her and you read about her, what do you hear about? Enthusiasm, hard work, making a difference, great teammate, supportive of this program and the coach, Cindy Fisher. She, she's something special. And to win your first honor with just a couple weekends left in your college career is epic. It's awesome. And she kind of comes from a legendary family as well. So it's going to be great to get to know her a little better.
She is one heck of a story, and you are going to love her story. When we come back from this break, Kylie will join us. We'll get to know her a little bit better, and I guarantee you special stuff. Come on back. This episode is brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Welcome back to Points in the Paint. Mary and I were talking about San Diego's magical weekend where they pick up not only one, but 2 conference victories, their first 2 wins in the WCC this season. And their go-to player, as you would imagine, as always, Kylie Horstmeyer, and she joins us now for this episode. Kylie, thanks so much for being on the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Heck yeah, we are too. All right, WCC Player of the Week. It's your first honor of this nature. How did you hear about it? How are you feeling? We're so excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah. I heard about it. I was actually in class and my teammates and my teammates were blowing up my phone and sending screenshots and like reposting on Instagram. So I really heard from my team and my coaches while I was in class. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, how did you feel? How did that land? It's your first.
Yeah, no, it felt really good. I don't know. It felt awesome. It's nice to get that. That's a big award. A lot of really, really good players get it. So it felt good. It felt, I don't know, just awesome. And it's cool.
I watched the replay of the end of the Pacific game about 5 times, and you're running the out of bounds play, right? I think there's like 15 seconds left in the game. You're down 3. You need a 3, and you're probably hoping the guards like remember that. But you're parked in the corner. You were showing your target for like 8 seconds. You're just standing there like, give me the ball. I'm open. Please, I hope I continue to be open. And your guard just drove baseline, kicked it to you, and the whole bench rose up. You could see coach on the sideline, and that thing goes through. And what was it like just knowing it was coming to you, and that was your moment? That's, get to overtime or lose another one. What was that moment like?
No, it was awesome. It was probably like the highlight of being at USD was probably that play. I haven't hit like a beater or anything to really put our team in overtime. So it was probably like I said, the highlight, and Ava just like making that pass, just like the coach drew up and like executing late. And I don't know, I wanted the ball because I was really feeling it that game. So it was just good. It was a good pass from her, and it's a great feeling.
What was the feeling like in the locker room after that game? You guys were so close last weekend. You were up at halftime in both the games and just could not pull them out. What was it just like on the floor, and then as you went to the locker room knowing you had finally broken through?
Yeah, the locker room erupted. Our coaches erupted. We were screaming on the court when the buzzer went off. It was just a great feeling, especially because this team is really, really resilient, and we're really close, and we're really we fight for each other every day, and we all go hard. Probably the hardest that I've been on, a team that's gone the hardest that I've been on, and I don't know. It was a great feeling. We were all hugging and just nice. Yeah.
Well, you grow up with basketball in your blood and a basketball in your hands. Your mom, obviously well-known on the West Coast and beyond, a star at Santa Clara. And then your mom becomes the Broncos head coach at the ripe age of 25. What are your first memories of basketball, gyms, that kind of thing?
I remember a ball in my hand since I was very, very little. I think what I remember is more her when she was coaching at Cal, and even when she wasn't coaching, we were season ticket holders, and we were always there, always at the game, supporting, sitting courtside. So I was just always around in that community. And then from there on out, just when she would go to alumni events, I was right there with her. When she would have presentations, I was right there with her. So basketball was always around, and playing at the next level was always the goal from when I was really, really little. So I don't know, it's nice to be able to do that, especially in the WCC where she played at Santa Clara, so did my aunt, coached at Santa Clara. So it's cool to be, playing against them and everything.
But it's just not that. She's in the WCC Hall of Fame. She's kind of legendary, really, both as a player at Santa Clara and a coach before she moved on to Cal. I mean, what is it like growing up with kind of a mom? I saw some pictures of you as a little kid with your mom at Cal, and I remember running into you and your brother, who's a couple of years older, at those Cal games. Just the experience of having a mom that is so accomplished.
Yeah, no, it's been great. She's probably my number one fan, and, she gives me advice, but never too much, never oversteps. You'll hear her at games. She's at every single game. She kind of plays that role where I'll go to her for advice. She's never, like, overbearing, but she always is there to offer, like, tips here and there, and just honestly, she understands what it's like, to be a student athlete and, like, at a high level, and understands, like, the work that needs to be put in and everything like that. So she's just really able to, like, be a mom, but also a coach, and she always has.
Any times that you guys went outside and did a little one-on-one, in the driveway or play some horse? I used to do that with my mom on occasion, and it was pretty
Oh,
flippin' cool. She played, 6 on 6 in Iowa. You don't need to know any of that stuff, but I brought it up anyway. Anywho, any of those moments with your mom outside in the driveway?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the driveway for us, but we had a park really close to
Okay.
our house, and we'd walk to the park, and it wasn't necessarily one-on-one, but she'd put me through workouts, and, she runs a basketball camp, so before the camp would start, I'd work out with her every day. She'd rebound for me up until college. She still comes back, we'll hit the gym, and she'll rebound for me. So it's cool.
And your season's
yeah.
not over. I mean, a lot of excitement last weekend, but you have a huge weekend this weekend. You go to Portland and Oregon State. It won't get much tougher than that. And then the WCC tournament after that. As a team, have you talked about what are your goals moving forward? What's the rest of the season look like for you guys?
I think really just to keep fighting, to keep staying locked in, to keep being eager, just to want to keep winning, and just like take every single game, every single quarter, every single possession, one at a time, and yeah, just to keep fighting. Like I said, this team is really, really resilient, and we work really hard and we go really hard. So we're excited just to keep doing that until the final game.
What's next for Kylie Horstmeyer? Do you know? What are the adventures that you've been kinda dreaming about after you wrap things up with your club?
Yeah, so after USD, I really wanna play overseas, so,
Great.
yeah, so wherever after I'll sign with an agent after everything's finished, and then, wherever that takes me, whatever country I can go to, that's the goal.
I know you're majoring in industrial relations, correct?
Yeah, and
International relations, excuse me,
mhm,
and a minor in German, is that correct?
that is correct, yeah.
Which is pretty amazing. That's a tough language. My grandparents spoke it, and I just kinda nodded my head a lot. Is Germany a place you'd like to end up, or is it just wherever you can play?
No, I would love to play in Germany. That's a great place. I think that would really help me with my fluency. But also Greece is another place that my mom played in Greece. I have a lot of Greek heritage. We have a lot of friends who are in Greece, so Greece would be a fun country. But honestly, anywhere that will have me would be great.
That's so great. I love the fact that you're already dreaming big, but I will tell you this, you've got business at hand to take care of, and Mary Murphy, for the last 3 weeks, she's been saying, "The team I don't wanna face in a one and done situation is San Diego because of your grit and because of your tenacity." Would you agree with her on that one?
Yeah, I would
Heck
agree
yeah.
with that. Yeah, yeah. I
Quite
think
the compliment.
Yeah, I know. I really, really love this team, and I think we are gritty. And every single day we come to work, and we all. I think one thing is that we all like play for each other. Like we've suffered a lot of injuries this year, and it's just like every single day we play for each other. My best friend has had a career-ending injury as a senior, and every single day I go and play for her because she can't finish out her senior year. So that's one thing about this team is we play for each other.
That's
Kylie,
what it's all about.
as your whole career wraps up and your time at USD, wraps up, what has the school, the university, and your coaching staff meant to you?
Oh, wow. I mean, I've been here 4 years, and the coaches and the school itself, I mean, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I've had here. It's been an amazing experience. The people that I've built relationships with from my freshman year on to now, the coaches I've been able to study abroad. I've been able to just meet so many people in admin that can help me with further careers. So I really just am grateful for USC and what the coaches have offered.
That's awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, young lady. Big weeks ahead, big adventures ahead. Congrats on being named the WCC Player of the Week for the first time in your wonderful career. Congratulations and good luck this weekend and beyond.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kylie, for being with us. All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, another very special guest who's known as the Braketologist for college women's basketball, ESPN's Charlie Creme. Be right back. This episode is brought to you by Jersey Mike's. Welcome back to Points in the Paint. Mary Murphy and I have been waiting for this next guest. We've been waiting for you, Charlie Creme. We have been waiting, and here you
Legend.
are. Yes, the go-to women's basketball bracketologist, ESPN's finest. Charlie, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's actually an honor because you two are kind of legendary in your own right. So
Wow.
this
In our
is
own minds.
God bless you. Okay, before we get into X's and O's and Rubik's cubing and all that, how did you get started? How does one become a bracketologist? How the heck and when the heck did this get started?
You know what? It's been over 20 years now, which is kind of crazy to say out loud. But it hasn't been as prominent as it is these days. So the growth of the game has sort of dragged me along with it, and I'm very appreciative of that. It started, well, there's a long version of this story I could tell, so I will try to give you the Cliff Notes version. I was working with Joe Lenardi. The tournament is the thing. It would be great if we could subsidize the preseason book with one that would just be the tournament. Well, you had to kind of forecast the tournament. So he got digging in, he studied it, and he essentially concocted this whole thing of bracketology. Fast forward a few years, and at this point, he had started his own thing that ESPN came in and bought and hired him. And then they decided a few years after that they wanted to add women's content and asked him if he would do it. And he said, no, but I've got a guy. You're looking at said guy. So I was very much engrossed in women's basketball. So when ESPN called to kind of feel me out, and I said, I would love to do something like that. And here we are, fast forward now I think it's 2 years now. I think this is the 22nd year, and going strong and loving every minute of it for all 22 of those years.
When you look at the WCC and, Portland and what they're doing this year, Gonzaga and maybe Washington State, where do you see them coming in when you start thinking about bracketology?
Well, this is usually a league that gives us the potential for a couple of teams because I know the history of this league. I do look very hard and see if is there anything I'm missing. And the numbers just aren't there. The non-conference performance just wasn't there. So I think we're going to get one team in, and whoever wins that conference tournament in my hometown, Las Vegas. I always love going to the championship game. If I can somehow swing my schedule, it's such a great event. It's such a fun championship game. It has been for years. I've always really enjoyed it. So I try to get back whatever my travels took me over that weekend to get back for those. If I can get back for the semis and then the final, certainly it's always a great time.
Gonzaga lost, but Portland beat them. So let's talk about the Pilots and what they did last year, that Las Vegas magic that they've got rocking and rolling right now. That I thought was one heck of a story. And so thanks to the Pilots, 2-bid league last year.
It was great. That game was phenomenal. And I had and you were there too, right? You were doing play-by-play. I was sitting right across the court from you.
I remember.
And just taking it all in. And it was, like I said, it's always a great atmosphere. Some of the schools, the upper echelon of the league, they travel pretty well. They bring a nice crowd, even though it's an afternoon game in Vegas, which is a little bit unusual for a championship game, but it's still a good crowd. It's a good atmosphere. And last year's game, and there have been other games too in recent vintage that have been maybe not quite as good as last year's, but they've been nearly that good. Where Gonzaga's been on the ropes. Back when BYU was in the league, that was a rivalry for sure. That we always seemed to get that championship game, or at least a number of years we got that championship game, and those were always close. And in those years, BYU's program was at a higher level than it is now. And even though BYU is now in the Big 12, and we could go into that championship game sometimes saying, well, both these teams are getting in anyway. So it's got a great little history here. And last year's game was sort of a cherry on top of the historical Sunday.
Charlie, do you see a WCC team, wherever you see them seated, doing some damage maybe in the first or second round this year?
Well, I am pretty curious about what Gonzaga can maybe do now that they seem a little bit. There's a lot of stuff going on with losing the starters, their coach being sick. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and now everybody seems to kind of be settled. But because of that, I think Gonzaga maybe a touch of a mystery as to what they are now versus the rest of the country. So I am curious to see maybe what can happen there. And Portland's had a great season, and I think they're capable too. It's not out of the realm of possibility. I think if things have come together the way I think we all think they have, at least for Gonzaga, and giving Portland a chance to showcase what they are, I certainly think it's a possible first round type upset. Home court advantage for the top 16. I don't have a problem. I still think it's kind of a good thing, but people often will just say that it feels like it's unfair. But upsets have happened in those games. It's not an untenable situation for the lower seed. It's not ideal necessarily for them, but it's doable. And if you catch the right team and it's the right matchup, then sure, I could see either team pulling a surprise in that first round.
All right, man. What we look forward to is in the next few weeks, just trying to get into your head and figuring out what the heck you're thinking and following along. And then we're going to fast forward to the WCC tournament, and Mary and I very much look forward to seeing you there. I hope your schedule allows you to pop in and sit across the court because, man, you were there big as Dallas last year.
No, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, I try to.
Yep.
And I think most years it works out. It kind of brings me back home after I've usually spent a week away at maybe the SEC tournament and then some time at Bristol, the ESPN headquarters, doing some wrap ups and some analysis along the what does this mean and what does that mean. And then I get to kind of come home and slide right over to the Orleans and check out that championship game.
Love it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time, Charlie Creme. You're a big timer, man, and we love having you on the show. Thank you for taking time out.
You're good for my ego. I appreciate that.
Anytime. Have we had some great guests today or what? Big day, great day. And speaking of the word big, B-I-double-G, some big games coming up. Walk us through it.
Well, for me, I look at the totality. We've got 2 weeks left. Some teams have 3, some teams have 4 left. Gonzaga looks in great shape. They've got the tiebreaker over Portland. Portland's got the tiebreaker over number 3, Washington State. So for me, when I look at the standings and I look at the upcoming games, it's really about that battle for 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th. And you know why that's important? Because of the seeding and how many games it's going to take. We just talked to Charlie Creme, and we know what it takes to get to the NCAA tournament. You got to win the tournament. If you're 5 or 6, you have to win 4 games. If you can manage that 3rd or 4th spot, and you have to win 3 games. It is a huge difference. So highly motivated there. Washington State is in great shape. They control their own destiny. That's what you want in life when you're a basketball coach and a basketball team. Oregon State, USF, St. Mary's, all tied at 9 and 7. Where do these folks, end up finishing? St. Mary's and USF, without a doubt, have the toughest remaining schedules this weekend. Super important for them. And USF at Washington State on Thursday, and St. Mary's at Washington State on Saturday. Saturday, to me, are 2 huge games for both programs.
So all of the jockeying for position is in place. And to your point, while the top 2 teams look pretty darn good, and they've done a great job solidifying those top 2 places, everything else, Washington State, everything else is just going to be the Wild West, as we've said.
Exactly right. But then you throw a red hot team like San Diego into the mix, and are they like a bowling ball and just start knocking people off? And I mean, really, this time of year, anything is possible. You get some great performances, and upsets start happening. And you want to be in Washington State's position. You're a game and a half up in the standings, and you just want to hang tight and stay solid in that third or fourth position. But the battle for fourth, between those three schools, it's on, man. I mean, and you've got to win basketball games, and you can sit and try to figure out who's got the advantage and who's this and what's going on. All you can do is go to practice every day, take care of your business. But I don't think we could ask for anything more as far as a competitive end to this season. And Charlie spoke about Gonzaga, a team that started 1-2, and the rip that they have gone on and how they've been able to just kind of get themselves together. The amazing play of Vonnie Ejim just sort of leading the way, a freshman point guard, and what they've been able to accomplish. Portland, the survival of winning 2 close games this past weekend and be able to stay the past week and be able to stay in that 2 spot. There's just a lot of great games to watch, and we're all going to be scoreboard watching.
You're reading my mind. We are going to be thumbing through our phones and our devices and just checking scores left and right, just the way we like it as we really hit the stretch run. Okay, Mary Murphy, that's going to do it for Points in the Paint. As always, thanks for breaking things down, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. Love having you on board. All right, we'll be back next week. Set your watches. Until then, be safe, be healthy, and thanks again for joining us.